To the left, you see medieval heraldry, and to the right, you see the business logos. And by the way, by the very same group of people who control the world on the left-hand side as well as on the right side. And logos are like the new coat of arms, and therefore similarly to coat of arms. Logos always give information, like in this case of the 40 people Swiss death case of January 1st, 2026. First of all, the number 40 carries the concept of 4 and the concept of 3, whereas the 4 is quite obvious, representing the 4 corners and 4 sides of a square. And the 0 is a circle, for which one needs a compass to make a perfect circle. So it says in the number square and compass, which might also be the message carried out into the world, as it is once again an event seen in the entire world, just like the arson of the Notre Dame in Paris and its political consequences, starting 8 months later on a Friday, the 13th of December 2019, that I've already explained in some of my videos. Watch this here very carefully and hear what it says here. So here you can read that the Notre Dame fire happened on April 15th and started at 1800 hours, which happens to be the exact same date and same hour on which the Swissies have an annual tradition to burn a representation of a human at the stakes. And guess where in America they perpetrate the same Swiss tradition? Well, yeah, in Wisconsin, of course, which you can read here. So you see, this is in Wisconsin, this one here. And it is on April 15th, which happened to be the same date on which the Notre Dame church burned. In the Swiss, they call it Sechserläuten, this here. And Sechs here, what you can read here, Sechs, it means 6, and Läuten, that means to ring, from the German word laut, that means loud, like in English, it's the same, you know. It's so it says here, ring the church bells, like ring the bells at 6 o'clock. I just told you, the arson of the Notre Dame was at 6 o'clock. It's all here. And they call this here the bug here. The O with the umlaut, with the dots on it, it's called umlaut. You can pronounce it like bug. You know, it's like a bug. For them, a human being is like it's like a bug. The bug. And they set it on fire. You know? So you see, it's similar. You know, that's not a coincidence. The chance would be so small, you know, at 6 o'clock, both things. And not only this, there's more. I'll tell you more. You'll be shocked. I tell you, you'll be shocked. And both at April 15th. I once made the video Wisconsin, which you should absolutely see. to understand what they're actually doing in Wisconsin with the same laws of silence applied as around the fire in Crans, Montana, leaving 4 dead in the motherland of Wisconsin. So here you see the authorities in Wisconsin, in the capital, I don't remember the name now, which is the same as this here, the Swiss cross. And this is what it says on the ceiling, exactly this here. Unus pro omnibus, omnes pro uno. That means one for all, yeah, unus pro omnibus, one for all and all for one, which is the same as where we go one, we go all. It's all the same thing. Here in this video, I filmed the Swissies 14 years ago on my old channel Giureh. How in another one of their burning pyres, resembling the stakes of the Inquisition, which was in fact very Swiss, and started when 2 Swissies by the names of Heinrich Kramer and Jacobus Sprenger in the year 1486 wrote the manual on how to torture and burn alive innocent European women, the Malleus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer. So here you see them standing here in the fire. And this is my older channel. I started it 15 years ago, and then they deleted it completely for many years, and they came back. So here's another logo, but it's in not in capital letters. So you see this was in 2011. There's also a part 1 of this here when I went filming at the, well, these ones here, I can't pronounce it. So here you can read about the book Malleus Maleficarum. It means here the hammer of witches, or usually it's called the witch's hammer. And it was written by 2 guys. One of them is here, Heinrich Kramer. They say he's German. Well, I'll show you, he wasn't German. They always hide this. And it was written in 1486. This is exactly when the Spanish Inquisition started. So the Inquisition was not Spanish, it was Swiss. And actually the Swissies, the last witch in Europe, she was burned at the end of the 19th century, in the modern times. And the Swissies, they would love to burn foreigners, or immigrants like Homie Ross. And the other one here was Jacob Sprenger. He was credited as the co-author. This one here. They also say he's German, I think, but I'll show you they are not. It's the laws of silence around Swaziland. So first of all here, Heinrich Kramer, Inquisitores, the inquisitors, of the holy, or not very holy, Inquisition. So it says Heinrich Kramer, and he was born in Sélestat in Alsace. I was there. I filmed next to it. I filmed a Templars commandery, or 2 of them in Colmar. Sélestat, it's in the Alsatian, it says here, it's in Alsace. I'll show it to you. It's part of where the ethnic Swiss are in the first place. And at the time when Heinrich Kramer lived, it belonged to Basel, the Swiss town of Basel. All this Mulhouse in France, a big chunk of Germany and France, it belonged to the bishopry of Basel. And Basel is where the BIS is, the Bank of International Settlements. Very important town. So there is a map here. I show it on the map. So you see, this is Swaziland here. Here's Basel in the corner. And this is Alsace here. And all the way to here, it belonged to the bishopry, so Swaziland, of Basel. Maybe it even says here somewhere. So, and this is the German name of it, because they also speak German there, the older people. See, and here is the other guy, Jacob Sprenger of the Malleus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer. And he says here, he's known for his association with an infamous book on witch hunting, Malleus Maleficarum. There you go. And he was a Dominican. And before it said he was German, but you see, he was born in here. Sprenger was born in 1436 or 1438 in Rheinfelden. Yeah, it says here. It's in Swaziland, in the canton of Argau. And it's next to Basel, as I told you before, the bishopry of Basel. It all belonged to them in those days. And anyway, the other guy, not very far away from Swaziland, Celista, as I showed you before. That's part of the ethnic Swiss. Remember, I told you about this. So this is an inquisitor, this guy's here. Charming guys, burning women, torturing women. Oh, look at them. And so that's an inquisitor. Dangerous people. So they're both Swiss. And he died in Strasbourg, which is also Alsace, sort of the capital of Alsace. And they also speak a Swiss dialect there, and they are ethnic Swiss. The Salem witch trials, no, they're using the same book, So the whole idea, of burning people, it's Swiss, as always. And we see it happening again now. The 4-0 death, the April 15th, the Notre Dame, the bug, and here in history. And you must think also of the Swiss Guard. It all belongs to it. They were the ones who executed it, bringing the women. It's all Swiss, bringing the women to the stakes. And the Swiss Guard, they were founded around the same time, I think. Yeah, so this is, what was it, 1486, the witch's hammer. Yeah, 1486, here it says. Let's have a look when the Swiss Guard was founded. Now here it says, the Swiss Guard here, established in 1506. And the book, the Malleus Maleficarum, was only 20 years before, in 1486. So it's definitely related. It needed 80 years, to have the ideas by the book settled in, and be taught to these guys. And the only museum of the Swiss Guard in the entire world, where is it? Well, it's less than 20 kilometers away from where on January 1st, 4 kids got burned to death. So it's actually not in Sion, as I thought, but it's here. It says here, Musée de la Garde Suisse. Garde, Swiss Guard. That's where they are. And here's Crans Montana, where the kids died. So it's just around the corner. And it's a valley here, and the canton is called the Valley, Valais in French. And as a surprise, I saw this here. I wasn't looking for it, Le Diablerie. This is where the Swiss had 3 concentration camps during the war, mostly for American aviators who were really tortured there, and you know, they destroyed their health for the rest of their lives and everything. The other one was called Hunneberg, and another one. I made a video about it. Well, I can show you very quick. So, where the kids got burned, these guys who burned all these women in the Middle Ages, and who were founded only 20 years after that horrible book, the manual, How to Burn and Torture Women, you know, the burning of people, it's just around the corner. They're just around the corner. This is 20 kilometers. So here it is. This is the 3rd Swiss concentration camp, Vaux-Villermoz. So Diablerie, there's the word diable, the devil in it. Diabolo in Latin languages. And there was Hunneberg. So this is what it looked like. Here the Swiss helmets. So at the moment this picture was taken, there were Americans in here. Pilots, they were called aviators in those days, during World War II. I made it 12 years ago, probably 13, 2013, yeah, well, 12 and a half years ago. So here's the title, you can punch it in and look it up yourself. Here's the other one, Hunneberg. So these are the 3 Swiss concentration camps with Americans in it. Vaux-Villermoz, Le Diablerie, next to where all the kiddies died and where the museum is, and Hunneberg. There's something wrong going on in that area, the whole country. There's something wrong. How come they have concentration camps and at the same time they say we were so neutral and clean? And I mean, look at it. It's a real concentration camp. The film is yeah, it's 37 minutes. So, and also the last time in America there were concentration camps before the actual concentration camps of the ice camps. There was a concentration camp. That was the last one before now. And it was a Swiss concentration camp in America. I made a video about it, also 12 or 13 years ago. So here you can see a picture of the out of the 19th century, and in a Swiss concentration camp in America. The commandant of the commander of the camp was Captain Henry Wirtz in the American pronunciation. It's all in the video. Here's the title. It's on the same channel as the video before about the Swiss concentration camps for Americans in Swaziland. And this is a Swiss concentration camp also for Americans, even in America. So, which makes me think and almost prove that the actual ice camps, it's the first time since this year happened, concentration camps are back, that the ice camps are also a Swiss idea, because these guys are always doing it. And remember my videos about these concentration camps of the Nazis? They were all ethnic Swiss, you know, like Christian the Terrible, Christian Wirth, almost like Wirtz, almost the same name as this one. So, and I'm sure that the ice camps, very soon it will look, or the people in there, they will look like this, and then they disappear. So here you can read about it, like the burning of the bug. This one here, the bug. They say it's a snowman. white. How are you going to burn snow? How are you going to do this in the Middle Ages? You can't burn snow. So it's nonsense. And I tell you what it means, it's a person in white clothes. It says 6 Leuten. And here, 6 Leute, it means here the 6 o'clock ringing of the bells. Just like in Paris and also on another occasion. Here again, 6 Leute is a Swiss German word that literally translates into the 6 o'clock ringing of the bells. Very important. And they do the same thing in Swiss consonant. So the Swissies call the Swiss burning pyre tradition 6 Leuten, meaning ring the church bells at 1800 hours. The exact same hour, the Notre Dame church cathedral got lit up with church bells ringing on the very same date of April 15th. So it seems some Swiss traditionalists might have passed by in Paris. So we can see the Swissies, with their worrisome likings to set fire to things and persons, just as they set fire to the world when they financed Adolf in Zurich on August 30th, 1923, or financed Hamas starting 2012, setting the world in fire. So the burg here, this one is also in Zurich, just as Adolf, who was in Zurich. And here it says Swiss burg, 1800 hours, April 15th. And here the Cathedral of Notre Dame, which means Our Lady. The Christians probably know what lady. And here, I'm not a Christian. Here it says 1800 hours, April 15th. And, they hide it. Say it's a snowman. Well, snow doesn't burn. We all know that. It's something else. It's a person. I'm gonna explain that to you. I'll give you all the proofs. It's actually a person in white garments who got burned here. Who is the representation of this here, getting burned, because snow doesn't burn. And the person, or these persons, they got burned as witches. And witches, they have a broom. That's why there's the broom here. I'll show it to you in a minute. Not many people are aware of this, but the most important relic of Christianity is kept in the Notre Dame Cathedral and got almost burnt. The original crown of thorns of Christ. So here's the Notre Dame in Paris. They're rebuilding it here. And here is the crown of thorns. Of course, this is, to make it look nice with some gold on it. But the original crown of thorns is in here, in a plastic tube or probably glass, because it's all very old. And it got rescued at the very last minute. It was a miracle, actually. I'm not religious myself, but I must admit this was a miracle that it got rescued and saved at the very last minute. Not a minute more, and then I would have been gone forever. There are indeed many Swiss fire traditions and Swiss fire rituals. And this here is an image of a Swiss movie, this is the bug. And it is about an alpine fable. So a fable, it means it's an ancient story that at one point or another, people used to believe in it. and it was real for many people. And maybe it was real after all, entirely. So if you want to see a real creepy film, well, you should see this. But I warn you, this is quite creepy. There's so many creepy things going on in that place of the world, and it's all hidden. Like it says in the Bible, the biggest trick of the devil is, to make people believe that he doesn't exist. He's clean, the devil is neutral, never hear about it. So here it is. Here's the name, Zenentunji, with a cross in it. Here it makes even a Swiss cross. Here it says Curse of the Alps. There's even a Templar's cross, because, they know what they're doing. Why else put a Templar's cross? And here it looks like a sort of a creepy fleur de lis. Here these Satanists things, and look at all these creepy stuff here, and here as well, and this here, look at that. So the film is really creepy. I mean, here's the name of it, so you could probably find it even in another language. And it's probably that creepy because it's based on truth, as it is an ancient Alpine fable. So that means at one point or another, people used to believe in it. For many people, it was truth. They believed in it, and maybe the entire thing is truth. And it also reminds me of the tunnel, of the Gotthard tunnel, all this here, all the images, look at it, and the whole story. This place of the world, it's related to all these evil things. And I've accumulated a few of it for you. And this is another one of it. And the movie is really well made. And it really rises up the hairs in the back of your neck, because subconsciously, it's true probably. And for many hundreds of years or thousands of years, in the remote valleys of the Alps, where they are still very remote valleys, far away, high up in the mountains, they don't come down in months probably. There are people who probably practice this here and believe in it because it's so far away, and if you go there, it's like entering a different time zone or something, and it's all hidden under clean and neutral and never done anything, and apparently for Christians this stands in the Bible somewhere. The biggest trick of the devil is, to make people believe that he doesn't exist, that he is clean, that he is neutral, he doesn't exist, never talk about it, laws of silence. Well, go and have a look at it. So here you can read about it, Zenentunji. It says here, it is based on an eponymous Alpine fable. Central and Eastern Alps of Europe are rich in folklore traditions. It's pre-Christian. So this is a pre-Christian video. So a couple of the story. The video is from 2010. And I'll tell you, I've never seen something like it. And it says it's based on the succubus. Here we get back again to the Malleus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer, where it's written about the succubi and incubi. There are male and female demons who which Bob Larson probably calls Jezebel. It's who visit you. So the female demons visit a man, if you know what I mean, and the male demons, they visit women. And then there is the Zennen Tunji. I think Tunji, it means a sort of a girl, but not a really nice name. And Zennen, it means the Alps. Like they got a Zennenhund, you know, the Swiss mountain dog. They call him Zennenhund. So this is the Alpine. If you go really high up in the mountains, you know, you have to run for Bigfoot. And Bigfoot's got a skirt on it. You have to run really fast, probably. In front of the Notre Dame de Paris on March 11th or March 18th of the year 1314, the Knights Templars were burned at the stakes at 1800 hours. The very same time of 1800 hours, the Notre Dame burned 705 years later. And the very same hour of 1800 hours, the Swissies do their Sechserläuten while burning a man in white, like the white robe of the Knights Templars, with the knights on horses around the burg, with red hellhounds to represent the red cross of the Knights Templars. I've been telling you all since 2010 here on the tube that Swaziland was founded by the Knights Templars in 1291, as my house taught me so. So here you see the last Grandmaster, Jacques de Molay. Here is the Notre Dame. That's where they burnt him. I went there. I made a video about it. And he was burned at 1800 hours, which I will show you in a minute. And here in Swaziland, you know, they burn a man in white, just like this one here. They had white robes, the Templars did, with a red cross. That's why you got the red scarf here, and a broom, because they were sentenced to death because they were Satanists. You know, like just like the broom of the witches here. It's all the same, you know. And they burn him at the same hour as the Knights Templars were burned. There were only about 25 who were burned here in 1314. So they burned it at exactly the same time. And this is also the same time the Notre Dame burned itself. It can't be a coincidence. And this is an actual picture, you know, they're running around here, riding on horses, like probably here, you know, they probably, some of the Templars wanted to attack, but they finally didn't, or they came too late or something, you know. They're not telling the truth, you know. And here you see the red hellhounds here, which is, it's symbolizing the Red Cross, of course, in white, you know, just as this here. So there are three things, you know, and it's always the same. This is almost the same time, around April 15. This was in March, also in like spring, just like this here. And April 15th, the church burned. And every time it's 6 o'clock. Well, that can't be a coincidence, you know. And it's not only the time, it's the colors, it's the broom, it's red and white, it's guys on horses, it's the burning thing, the pyre, the Swiss Inquisition burning people, the Malleus Maleficarum, The last Grand Master of the Hounds of Hell, Jacques de Molay, was burnt at 1800 hours with simultaneously the church bells of the Notre Dame de Paris ringing until he was dead. And this is what the Swissies call Sechsläuten, meaning ring the bells at 6 o'clock, while at the same time a person in white gets burned at the stake with the knights as red hellhounds riding around on horseback. So this is again the other picture, the red scarf, the man in white. They say it's snow, but you can't burn snow, you know, it's a man. You can see it's a man. And the broom here, there are probably more things. It's black hat. Here you see the red cross of the Knights Templars, the Notre Dame Church, the red cross here, and it's 1800 hours. This is 1800 hours. It's every time 1800 hours, and also when the church burned in 2019. Another parallel reality, as usual, to honor the past, into which the date April 15 fits. The hour 1800 hours fits. The colors red and white fits. The stakes fit. It's all the same. The places fit. The ringing church bells fit. The name of the tradition fits. It all fits into the genuine fingerprint of these eternal perpetrators and their base of all evil with its red and white flag. So here, one more time, the three pictures here. So this was at 1800 hours, 6 o'clock, when they burned Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templars in 1314. And this is also at 1800 hours, that's why they call it Sechsläuten, ringing the bells at 6 o'clock, which is related to this, as is the white robe here, as here. The little red here represents the cross, and the broom because they burned them here because the prosecutor of the king, that was Guillaume de Nogaret, also of the nobility, he sentenced, condemned about 25 Knights Templars to death, to burning at the stakes because of the broom, because they were Satanists. And the fire here started miraculously also at 1800 hours, as I've shown you before. So it's all the same. And that's not a coincidence, because these guys, they do everything like their political wing, which I'm not going to pronounce, the political wing of the Knights Templars. I'll explain you in a minute why. They do everything by the numbers and by symbology, by handshakes and secrecy. And these things have in common that it was both on April 15th. They do this annually, Sechsläuten, and in Wisconsin. And this here was also on April 15th. And as I explained in my video 7 years ago about this, about the arson here, that the biggest enemy of the Knights Templars, there was the prosecutor of the king, Philip the Fair. The prosecutor's name was Guillaume de Nogaret, also of the nobility. Well, this was the day he died, you know, and which was not a coincidence either, that 1 year after this happened, he died, and the king as well. So here it says, Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Knights Templar, was burned at the stake at the hour of Vespers. And the hour of Vespers for Christians, it is the evening prayer at about 6 o'clock. So it says everywhere. Here at Vespers here, Jacques de Molay, Vespers, the provost of Paris man, torched two nearby pyres. And yeah, that same day, around the time of Vespers, on a small island in the Seine, the River Seine, in about Jacques de Molay, the River Seine in Paris. And well, it says everywhere. So he was burned at 6 o'clock. Yeah, one more time. Jacques de Molay, he died in 1314. And well, you can read it yourself. All Templars, crosses here. And here I went filming for you. It's the commandery in Bonn. It's on the same channel, maybe. That's where he got initiated. So here, this is about the death. I went filming for you here as well. I filmed all this. This is the island. And here you see the church, Notre Dame. And he got burned about here. It's in my channel. You can... I'll let you find it. So here it says, that same day by sunset, a pyre was erected on a small island in the Seine. By sunset. You got Set here, the Lord of the Underworld. It's not a coincidence because he rules the night. Sunset. And so that was 1800 hours. So here I'll show you at what time exactly Vespers is when Jacques de Molay got burned, where it's, as it says everywhere. So these are the canonical hours, and I have to scroll down here. Here it says Vespers here. And you see them all praying, is at sunset in the evening, here once more. And yeah, Vespers sunset is approximately 6 p.m., 1800 hours. So you can read it all yourself here. Here they're praying Vespers, or, you know. And so it's everywhere 1800 hours in the tradition in Swaziland when Jacques de Molay got burned and the arson of the Notre Dame. And it's all related. And it's all related to Swaziland and the Knights Templars. It's not a coincidence. That's all 1800 hours, you know. These guys, they're like traditions, you know, Templars and their political wing. They like traditions, very important. And here once more about the burning of the bug, at 1800 hours. Here it is. 6 Leuten, 6 ring. In Zurich features a grand parade with guilds in costume, guilds, lodges, you know, marching bands and hundreds of horses. You know, as the 6 o'clock bell ringing. It has nothing to do with the end of winter or whatever, you know, it's all. They have to keep it secret, you know, that Knights Templars went there, so. And here, this is important, the 6 p.m. moments, 1800 hours at precisely 6 p.m., the bug is lit. The faster its head explodes, the better the summer is predicted to be. Why? Because they didn't want him to suffer that much, you know, the Jacques de Molay. So the faster his head exploded, then he was really dead, so he didn't have to suffer anymore, seeing his ligaments burn and his toes and his hands. No, when the head was gone, he didn't suffer anymore. That's what it's about, you know. And they keep it all secret. It's the land of secrecy. So forget this, a large snowman, forget about it. And so 1800 hours. They remember the burning of Jacques de Molay in Paris in front of the Notre Dame, and it's all related to the arson. Also, it's 1800 hours. And here one more time, so you don't forget it, Notre Dame fire. It was on April 15, 2019, at the time of Vespers at 6 o'clock, 1800 hours, because that was the moment Jacques de Molay was burned. Exactly same place, in the same hour. And that's why they celebrate that in Swaziland. And it must go quick so he doesn't suffer. So here you see him riding around the puppet here, Jacques de Molay. It looks more like Mongolia here, you know, with the hats and everything. It doesn't even look like Swaziland, you know. And it doesn't look like clean and neutral to me, you know. And this is what I wanted to show you, the hellhound, in red, of course. So you got white and red, and also the scarf. So, yeah, I'll show you what this means here. They all have it, apparently. So here's a bigger picture. You know, here you see the fire of the pyre. And here you see the hellhound in red. So I'm going to explain that to you here. So it looks like the Swissies are in quite a hurry. I didn't see this before. You even got red ears. That has a meaning, people. It all has a meaning. Why the red ears? So you think about that. So here we see about the hellhound, which we just saw on the robes of the knights. Seems to be a male dog, and so it's called Quintuple, and it's a lodge. I didn't read it all. It says here, eine Sprache, one language. I didn't read it. Here's something with John the Baptist, it says here. So I'm not going to read it, you know. And there's some old from the Middle Ages here. And even here, what's that? It looks like Romans or Neptune. But anyway, you can read it yourself. And so it says that they take part in the Sechseleuten. Yeah, there he is again. You know, the snowman, which is not a snowman. And you got a pipe. Well, I suppose Jacques de Molay was smoking a pipe. You can be sure about that. So here once more, the 6 o'clock hellhound. So here it says Crans Montana. Well, thank God they don't call it Trans Montana yet. In French, by the way, you say Grand Montana. And what is interesting here in this picture is this is not the name, the real name of the bar. It's called the constellation, la constellation. But as the kids, you know, especially in France or French-speaking parts, they like abbreviations, you know. You know how the French talk, you know, it's very quick. They don't have the time, especially kids, especially the French. They don't have the time, you know, to pronounce the whole name, and they say le Constel, you know, amongst each other. So this is another sign, an indication that it was really a place visited by kids. You know, this is a thing kids do, especially teenagers. You know, you have no time. You got more important things to do, you know, than to pronounce the words as you should, like, you know. And there's another indication, another proof, you know, I mean, why would the bar owners, why would they do it? I mean, they're just kids. I mean, why take the vocabulary of kids and put it in your serious business and your bar, you know? Well, because it says square and compass, of course. Here's the circle for the compass, and this is the square. And this is why they are in majuscules, you know, big letters. I mean, why would they do it? Why the big L and the big semicircle here? You know, there's always a message in the logo, in the name, in the heraldry. This is modern day heraldry, if you like. So it says square and compass. So I have absolutely no doubt that these owners, they belong to the club. And the name, I don't want to pronounce it anymore, because now in 2026, with the AI, there's so much censorship and so much total control. You know, they put it in the description, you know, what you should think, and I don't want this, you know. So I'll show you a new word, what I'm going to use. So this will be my new anti-censorship and anti-AI total control word for the 4O boys here on the left, who are everywhere on key positions, like the Swiss authorities, who were supposed to check the bar twice a year for security issues, which they hadn't even done for 5 years, leading to the 4O dead kids in a seemingly Burning Man sacrifice that they call the bug. So here again, this is the compass, the circle, and here's the square. And this is why they do it in capital letters. There's no other reason. They always do it. I know it, you know. And here's the new word I'm going to use now. Freemason. This is what it is. Like free more sin. So the free more sins and the free more sinners. I'm not going to use their words anymore. Finished. So from now on, my anti-censorship word for the square and compass guys is free more sin. Free more sin. Like liberate more sin in a cynical way, as we're being ruled by evil, who come out of the Knights Templars and have their base in the Alps. So it says again, free more sin and the free more sinners, free more sins 4O. This here is a previous video in which I explain most of my anti-censorship words that I've been using so far, because the total control repression is a big problem and getting worse by the day. So you see, here's the title. It's on the same channel as here, and I made it a year ago. I slept here once next to the castle in my sleeping bag. And this place is only 20 kilometers down the road of Crans, Montana, and called Sion, or Sion, like here. The infamous and notorious Templar, the Priory of Sion, and the book, The Elders of the Priory of Sion, writing about a conspiracy against mankind by the Priory of Sion, and only 20 kilometers away where the 4-0 tragedy happened, and who still have a Templars commandery in the vicinity today, by the name of Grand Prieuré Magistral de Suisse, as you can see here in their website. Here it says, Grand Prieuré Magistral de Suisse. And in English, the name would be the Great Magistral Priory of Swaziland. And magistral means masterful, as in masters of the world, who, as I've been telling you many years, are in the Alps in Swaziland. So here you see the Knights Templars in a white gown as the bug being burned. He's got the sun behind his head. That stands for Horus, of course, the falcon god. And it says, Le Grand Prieuré Magistral de Suisse vous présente les meilleurs vœux pour 2026. They wish us all a happy new year. Well, it doesn't look very bright, all things happening now, eh? So, and this is the English name here, OSMTH. Here they have a coat of arms with angels. And this is interesting here. Yeah, they have, it says here, in 2026 we are still active everywhere on the whole of Switzerland. Sur l'ensemble du territoire suisse, it means everywhere in Swaziland they're active. So also, like presumably 20 kilometers away in Crans, Montana. And they have 4 commanderies that are active. And I hear this is the Latin name here, Ordo Supremus Militari Templi Hierosolimitani. I can't pronounce the word here, but this is this here. And that's like the hieroglyphs in it. I mean, why? So this name actually, this here, it is connected to the hieroglyphs of Egypt here, hieroglyphs, which is quite interesting to know. So here you see the commanderies in Swaziland, and these are all former Knights Templars, André de Montbard, Bertrand de Blanfort, Godefroy. Well, here they said this is the new name, Geoffroy, but it's actually Godefroy. Germanic, the origins. Godefroy de Saint-Omer. I've explained to you in my Mafia video that the Omerta, it's from this guy here. He's one of the 9 founders of the Knights Templars. And then we got Godefroy de Charnay. Char, it's like Sar, the king or the pharaoh. And they are in Valais. So Sion is in the canton of Valais, it means the valley. And 20 kilometers away is Crans, Montana. Also in the canton of Valley, the Valley Canton. So so this is the coat of arms of Giureh, apparently, or the commandery there. Templars cross. There's it's all red and white, just like Swaziland. And here it says, so he was burned in Paris next to Jacques de Molay, burned alive. Here they say on March 18th. So these guys probably know it the best, you know. So it was not March 11th, but March 18th. That can be quite sure. 1314 at 6 o'clock. Very important to know. The 6 o'clock thing is more important than the date. I can tell you that. So the commandery in the canton of Valais, next to Crans-Montana, is called G.I.U.R.E.H, a commandery of the Knights Templars in Swaziland, right next to where the tragedy happened, the 4-0 tragedy. There they are. And they call it, in French, prieuré. And prieuré, it means the priory. And it's highly possible that they are in Sion, so prieuré de Sion. And even if they are next to Sion, they still call it probably prieuré de Sion. The Knights Templars political wing of the Three More Sinners are, of course, also in Sion, which you can see here, and only 20 kilometers away from where the 4-0 fire was in that bar, with definitely Three More Sin indications in their logo. So this is this valley. Here is Sion, and this is probably the way to Crans-Montana, only 20 k's away. The name of the Three More Sin Lodge in Sion, or Sion, as some in English call it, the name is Ataraxie. And in their website, as you can see here, they talk about in the heart of the old land or old country, with old country in between quotation marks, even writing it in capital letters. So here you see the square and compass with the G, of course. You can look up a lot of things here. And it says here, the Three More Sin Lodge, it's Lodge, Ataraxie. It says here they are in Sion. GLSA, that means Le Grand Loge Suisse de Alpina, the Great Swiss Alpina Lodge in Sion. So here's probably the valley going to the 4-0 bar. So here is their name, Ataraxie. Here you see again the castle here in Sion, and this here, Homie Rossi slept here. So here it says, Au cœur du vieux pays à Sion. And they wrote it here, Vieux pays, the old land or old country, with capital initials here of the words, and in between quotation marks. So it means they want to say something with it. And here, au cœur, it means the English word to care is from here, where the heart is, you see. So at the heart of the old land in Sion. So Sion is sort of the old land, where it started. So why the old country in between quotation marks? What do they mean with that? Why is that so important to them? Well, what and who is older than the Three More Sinners Well, the Knights Templars, of course, who founded the Three More Sinners. So the old land most certainly refers to the Priory of Sion, where the Knights Templars restarted after they were kicked out of France and burned at 6 o'clock at in front of the cathedral. So this is very important. And here they also say that they have sincere friends, or the same, at these places, or also in the valley, Saint-Maurice, Épinacy, Martigny, Bex. In the valley, they got all these other Three More Sinners. And here it says, a Grande Loge Suisse Alpina, the GLSA, what we saw before. And there it is again, GLSA. And so I'm going to explain now the name Ataraxie, because there's also a message in it. Everything that has a message, secret symbol, and all these sort of things. There's nothing by coincidence. So here it is, ataraxia in English, ataraxie, and here it says here in dark here what it means. I'll let you read it yourself. So ataraxie or ataraxia in English means a state of tranquility characterized by ongoing freedom from distress and worry, like being in clean and neutral Swaziland in the Alps and away from the deadly persecution of France, enabling the pursuit of world domination in a both geographical as mental state of ataraxia, secluded in the alpine mountains and valleys of the base of all evil, and where they can do whatever they want without any consequences by authorities or other, as they themselves are the authorities, with three more sinners occupying all key positions and keeping tight by executing the Knights Templars' laws of silence by Godefroy de Saint-Omer, also called the Omerta. So here's number 2 after the lodge in Sion. And here I'll show some more of the surrounding 3 more sinner lodges in the same canton of Valais, or Wallis in German, where the 4-0 constellation bar is or was. So from these nearby lodges, the Swiss Omerta authorities might very well be members of. I mean, the whole world and even the 3M felt something terribly offish, like a worst Swissy conspiracy concerning the way the Swissy authorities mishandled the January 1st 4-0 case in the Swiss Alps. So this is from the town of Épinacy in the canton of Valais. And this is where they house in. And this here is what the inside looks like, still in Épinacy in the canton of Valais, just around the corner from the 4-0 bar. So here you see all this pharaonic stuff here. And here, this is Isis and Osiris, the triangle stuff, of course, the sun. And here you see like 6 pharaohs sitting here. This looks like the scales of Ma'at. And the interesting thing is here in Swaziland, I see all these lodges here. Each one of them, they have 3 pillars. You see here there are 2. And the concept of 3, of course, together with all these squares, you know, the checkerboard pattern, you get square and compass. You know, the concept of 3 and this the concept of 4. But usually there are only 2 for Jachin and Boaz. Maybe this is the Jachin and Boaz, the 2 candles. But in each lodge here in Swaziland, I see 3. And you see all this pharaonic stuff, you know. I told you, Swaziland is the base of Pharaoh. And these guys, you know, the 3 more sinners, they have all these Egyptian stuff, you know. And, so the next one here is in Bex, also in Valais. Looks like an old house, might be an original Templar thing. They usually have these long forms, or many of them I've seen. And this also, it's like just around the corner from the 4-0 bar. And this is the inside of the lodge from the 3 more sinners in Bex Valais. And they have 3 here as well, 3 pillars. And this here is the seal of Solomon here as well. So that has nothing to do with the jaywalkers. This is just their master of the jaywalkers, you know. And so I suppose that the descendants of Solomon and King David, they are the Baron of Rothschild, who apparently practically ruled the JJ base. We are all slaves of Pharaoh's nobility, included the jaywalkers, who have no clue about their own history. You know, they come asking me like, Giureh, can you tell me this and about our history? Can you tell me that? They have no single clue what it's all about. Just like the Europeans and the whole world, nobody knows, nobody understands their own history. So the next one here in Martigny, here it says as well. And here is this GLSA, what I told you before, the Grand Lodge, the Great Lodge of Suisse Alpina. And it says here, pensée, action. Pensée is thinking or a thought, and action. So they look like harmless guys. I mean, why do harmless guys have this word action in it? What kind of action? You know? And of course, we got here the triangle stuff for the concept of 3. And here in the book is the square, 90 degrees for the concept of 4 also. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 corners and 4 sides. And of course, it says here one more time, the square and compass. And here's the blue for the war, representing the war crown. So this is the action part. And I get the pensée, the thought part, you know, doing very carefully and with angles and, you know, making a picture first. Oh, here's even the sun hieroglyph in it. Look at that, the circle with the dot in it. So, I mean, first, before the action, you make a drawing first. You use this, pensée, the thought or the drawing. And then you get the action and the blue war crown. Well, what do you want more, eh? So here the 3 more sins in Lausanne, here it says, which is a big town. It's bordering at the Valais canton. It's also very near. And you see here you got 3 pillars. I've never seen this actually. Usually they have only 2. And here you got the grail on it. Means our blood is here, our descendants are here. So it's the concept of 3, and here's the concept of 4 in the checkerboard. I mean, the square has 4 corners and 4 sides. And here's also the concept of 3. There's the pyramid stuff again, with the G, which is the 7th letter. The sun here has the octagon in it, 8 like sun rays, and if you put these little ones together, you get 16. And here the moon and the sun. Well, Of course, the moon and the sun, you know, that's Osiris and Seth. It's all pharaonic. And Lausanne nowadays, it's the big drug center of Switzerland. And I'll talk some more about it, about the which is coming up right now, about the Corsican criminals, actually, the owners of the bar, the Moretti couple, who had already been sentenced in France. So I highly suspect drugs going on there. So more because of the big drugs town of Lausanne right next door. So I mean, like the Greek word, like before, you know, sitting somewhere quiet in a small town with tourists, nobody is suspecting anything. Yeah, you can easily hide the alleged drugs, you know. And there's not so much control like in the big town of Lausanne, where there's so much drug stuff going on in the streets and everything. But just a minute, I'll explain it to you. Just be patient. And this one here of the three more sinners, you see the triangle here, and here's square and compass and all that. It's also in the canton of Valais. I knew where it was, but I forgot it. I forgot to write it down, excuse me. So it's somewhere in Valais. Maybe it's in Sion. So and here it says sagesse, force, beauté. Beauté is like beauty. You can understand this. Force, yeah, okay, it's force. And sagesse, it's wisdom. Wisdom, strength, and beauty. Or is wisdom the beauty of strength? Or is strength the beauty of wisdom? What is it, you know? And here's also the all-seeing eye in it, which is Horus. Next to the 4-0 secret message, the alleged message would be death and fire. And in this context, it would be a good idea to watch the next Friday, the 13th, that will occur in November of 2026. And also watch closely summer and winter solstice of June 21st and December 21st for any suspicious events and activities. Maybe the message of January 1st, 2026 is World War III, with many young conscription soldiers dying for the next reset. It's an alleged message from the motherland of all evil concerning youth, fire, and death. And I urge you to remember the 4-0 message Donnie has been giving all the time, which I showed you in this video here. So this is the O, the concept of 3 for the compass. He's doing it here. And it's at the end of the video. Here it's 35 minutes. And here's the title on the same channel. I made it last year. And so he's changing, doing the 3 and then the 4. The 4 fingers, the 3 fingers, the 4 fingers, all the time. That's the concept of 4 and 3, or 4 and O, because the O is the concept of 3. Just like in the 4-0 message. It's just another way of giving it. So the 4-0 of the 40 tragic deaths of these very young kids corresponds to the very same three more sinner concept of 3 and 4 Donnie has been giving all the time. Now, first of all, watch this sign here. I'm going to explain it because this is very important to understand what is happening here and what happened here. In the logo of the 4O bar, we can see that funny sort of triangle in the first O. What is that? Well, it's a stylish geographical profile of Corsica that Corsican nationalists wear in a silver chain around their necks, which you can see here. So this is the 4O bar, Le Constellation, and in the first O you got this here. And most people don't know what it is. So, and they wear it around their necks like this, because the island, roughly, it looks like this. Of course, there are a lot of, rocks, it's a bit like this, but roughly it looks like this. And this is the stylish geographical form of their island. The Corsican mafia wears it like this, with a dagger. So here's the dagger, you see, like here in the stylish geographical form here, there's a dagger. And also the men in general, they like it with a dagger, because there's a lot of vendetta on the island, even more than in Sicily. It's really huge. A lot of vengeance, killings, and so traditionally this is the traditional dagger with which they stick it in someone's back or in the kidneys. Just like the jaywalkers, they had the sicaria, the sicari, which they also, the name is being used in the cartels, the sicari, the hitman, like. So probably each region, in the former days, they have their form of a dagger. And this is the Corsican dagger. And the Corsican freedom fighters wear it like this, with an assault rifle. How do I know that? Well, maybe some of you remember this video that I published on my channel YT-Kanal in English and in French, when 13 years ago I was making videos for Corsican nationalists and Corsican freedom fighters, whom they call in French les indépendantistes corses, which means the Corsican Independence Front, like the very dangerous FLNC, standing for the National Liberation Front of Corsica. And so here you can see it's on my other channel, YT-Kanal. There we go. So you see that was in 2013. Here's the title, here's the channel, so if you want you can look at it. Interesting, the Corsica has of course the Ka of the pharaohs, like our souls live here, we are here. And Corsica is just, Egypt is just on the other side of the dip, it's not very far from Corsica. And I told you in Sardinia, next to Corsica, they got the name is from the Shards, who were Pharaoh's bodyguards, like the Shard in England, this sort of an obelisk thing almost. They were called the Chardans, the soldiers. Yeah, and there's the word Tsar in Sardinia or Chardan. The word Tsar for pharaoh or king, like in a sarcophagus. And I also made a French version, which you can see here, because finally I made it for them, for the Corsicans, who they have two languages there, Corsican, which is like sort of Italian, and they speak French. So this is much longer, the French version. Here's the title, Collectif Romani de Solidarité, etc. Here are some telephone numbers, and well, it's 13 years ago, and emails from that time. And because they wanted to organize, with more people, it's a long time ago, So this is the French version, a bit longer. The Corsican FLNC group is on the French terrorist list and organized with the IRA, Irish Republican Army, the ETA, Euskadi Tasuna from the Basques, the Catalan independence movement, the South Tyrol independence movement, and many others, and with Homie Ross being the only non-Corsican being able to be in their midst, doing videos for them, having secret political meetings with them, hidden in the bush, high up in the Corsican mountains, which they call Le Maquis, where the vegetation is so dense you can't even get through. So here you can read some more about it. The FLNC, Front de Libération Nationale Corse, is a Corsican national paramilitary organization that has been active since 1976 and is considered a terrorist group by French authorities. And here's some more. I'll let you read it yourself. Here, the violence level, while they have conducted over 10,000 actions, they have traditionally aimed to avoid high casualties, though they have killed police officers and politicians. For instance, the 1998 assassination of the prefect Claude Erignac. So here's some more. I'll let you read it yourself. So here you can see some more, and here the FLNC is a name used by various guerrilla and paramilitary organizations that advocates an independent or autonomous state on the island of Corsica, separated from France. Why they have this symbol, I explained it in one of my videos, I don't know, 8 years ago maybe. I'll see if I can find it. The ideology here. I mean, you can type it in yourself there, the name, and go and read it yourself. Here it says they are left-wing nationalism and right-wing. Well, actually, they're not right-wing at all. They are left-wing, but only because they don't like Muslims. They're also right-wing here, but they are very typically left-wing, as their allies of the IRA here, the Provisional Irish Republican Army, and the Basques, very leftish Antifa sword organizations. I think Donnie would like them in America very much. Well, it was a joke, of course. Here's some FLNC fighters. That's an old picture. And they do a lot of bombings, actually. And maybe because they changed, and it says in 2024 they were against the jaywalkers, it says here. But they are very, very leftish, left-wing organizations. And why did they change? I will explain that to you. And that is very much related to the fire in the Swiss Corsican bar, Le Constellation. So here it says once more, they are from the far left. So a little bit left is just left, but far left is Marxist communist, as I've just explained to you. So here it says they are from the far left. And here it says the historical and militant wings advocate for armed struggle, positioning them on the far left of the political spectrum. And they want self-determination against French rule. They are very free there, you know, they're just exaggerating. And so you can read it all. So they are from the far left. You know, it says once more. The political spectrum fits the far left by advocating for revolutionary change and etc., struggle against the state, and far left. From all the Mediterranean islands, Corsica has the highest mountains, and even people snowboarding here. And from the language here, it says, believe it or not, Corsica has 4 ski stations. I didn't watch this video, but from the language, this is not English, but American or Canadian, so maybe I'll watch it later. Looks quite funny, eh? People are always thinking, well, Corsica, that's the Mediterranean. Well, it is very hot in the summer, but it gets cold in the winter if you go high enough. The Corsican mountains attend 3,500 meters and have abundant snow in winter. We partied together. I slept in their homes and hideouts and attended the annual political 3-day rally of the Giornate Nazionale, meeting up with the IRA, the ETA, and the rest. And attended the annual political 3-day rally of the Giornate Nazionale, meeting up with the IRA, the ETA, and the rest. So, here you see there were a lot of people. And I want you to have a look, I'll explain it in a minute. Have a look at the word international here with a Z. And not with a T. And here you see the Basque flag and all the other peoples without a country. It goes 3 days in the summer. Here you see the Irish flag, of course, and all peoples without a country. They all get together, all the revolutionaries of the world, so to speak. Now, that's interesting. I just saw that the snowboarders in Corsica, I just watched the video and they spoke French, actually. They look like, or one of them with the curly hair looks like a jaywalker. And you see the same channel. And this here, Corte, that's where they do the 3-day political rally, actually, of the Giornate Internazionale with a Z, or a Z as the Americans call it. And this is the castle in the town. And I slept here once or twice, actually. I think I was on the other side. And I slept because here it's kind of hard, but I managed to go over the wall. And there was a little ridge here, where I had about 1 meter, where I slept in my DOS bag, my sleeping bag. And it was in the summer. So I guess it was on the other side. So nobody could see me. I didn't disturb anyone. I had a fantastic view. And the next day I went, actually it was quite late because they had Corsican music and all that. And so the next day I went back to the Giornate Internazionale. The Corsicans are in fact Italian and not even French. And so is their language. Whereas in Italian we can see the word Nazi in Nazionale, because the Mussolini fascists invented the word Nazis. Whereas in German just as in English, there is a T in the word nationalism and not a Z as in Italian or Corsican. So here you see it. Here, you know, the 3, 4, 5, the 3 days. That was in 2012 in August 3rd, 4th and 5th. And here you see the giornate, the days, journée, there's the word in French in it. Internazionale, you see the word Nazi, N-A-Z-I. And out of the Italian, the word Nazi comes from. And here you see the flag of Sardinia. This is Corsica, here's Ireland, the Basques. This is Catalonia, I think. And here, Argentina. And here you see this thing again, the geography of Corsica, here, the island. And the same head here, just like here and here. So the nationalists, you know, they have it like this on a chain with an assault rifle, and, you know. Here again, Giornata Internazionale. And here's the castle. They call it, like here, Cittadella di Corti. Corti is the town, in French, Corte, with an E. And this is why I slapped here, because the Giornata Internazionale, they are here. And relating the word Nazi to this here is absolute nonsense, created by the Philistines, the Muslims, and their taqiyya, making things up to fit the narrative. And because of censorship and AI control, I cannot pronounce this word here. And I will call it Bionism from now on. From bye-bye, go back home. Bionism. And once more, I have no problem with these people. I just don't want to have my video deleted, censored, or see some arrogant explanation in the description telling us what to think and what not to think. So you see the word here, it starts here with the Z. From here on, I'm not going to pronounce it anymore, and I call it Bionism. You know, from bye-bye, you know, this means they're going back home, so you can say bye-bye, no? Or they can say bye-bye. And I also saw that these ones here, they call them the word Nazi, they explain it, it's an abbreviation from NA, national, and ZI, then this word, which is absolute nonsense. And I showed it you just before that it comes from an Italian word for nationalism. So again, I have no problem with these ones here or these ones here. I have a bit of a problem with these ones, but I understand that all peoples, you know, and all these political things, they've all been indoctrinated with certain ideas, and then it gets stuck in their minds, they believe it. And it's all by Pharaoh's nobility, so we should help these, you know, the little ones. The big ones in the base of all evil, you just can't help them. You can't change them. But the little ones, you know, we can help them. And this is what I do. I change their minds, you know, maybe thousands of them who are not this anymore, and they understand it. So I have no problems with these ones either, Muslims or Philistines, no problem at all. It's not my problem anyway. And the funny thing is, you know, why do these actually have problems? You know, this with this. In a way, here, they're saying it right with the equal sign here. Because these ones here, they want these ones to go away, And this here, it means we are going away, we're going back home. So actually it means the same thing in theory. But well, unfortunately, the reality turned out a bit different. So this is my new word I'm going to use now, bionism, like here, bye, and then the onism, just like here. The by, I'm just putting the by here instead of the xi. And I just don't want to, I'm tired of getting my videos deleted and censored and all this in the description, things I don't want. I don't want that publicity. I don't want the arrogant, explanation of things, indoctrinating us all what to think and not to think. So they forced me to create my own words. So this is my new word. So we've got 2 new words in this video here. And there was the 3 more sinners and the bionism. And actually, it's very much related, the 3 more sinners and bionism, because there's the political bionism by the 3 more sinners, there's the bionism by the people, and there is the bionism, the religious bionism. And they all hate each other, they're all very distinctive things. And yeah, so from now on, bye-bye this one and only the bionism. So one more time, the word Nazi is coming from here, like in Italian. Only the Italians, they write this with an O, I think, and the Corsicans with a U. In the Corsican language, there's a lot of U, Corso, Nazionale, like that, So here you see the word Nazi from Mussolini, and not by the other thing I just showed you, the Philistines walking around and saying, they just want to fit the narrative, and just lie some stuff together. Here it says Nazionale, national, with a Z, and here Internazionale. Yeah, that's the word Nazi in it. G.I.U.R.E.H, from Corte, here where the citadel is, and here you see the Irish flag, the Sardinian flag. This is Catalonia, and here Corsican. These are the Brittany people. They're all teamed up together. My personal experience with the Corsicans is that they're either very good or very bad. There is no grey mass in Corsica, as in the rest of Western Europe, of dumb slaves who are neither good nor bad, but practically nothing at all. I believe, though, that the bad ones are far more numerous in Corsica. So, for the good ones I met in Corsica, and who also feel betrayed by the bad ones, I make this video, because the constellation Corsicans seem to be very bad ones, whom the few good Corsicans also detest. If you want to know how cruel Corsicans can be, then look at Napoleon, who was Corsican, and the 3 more sinner. Also, the French had slave labor camps for white men in the Americas until 1953, where over 50% of the guards were Corsicans, who tortured and killed at least 60,000 French at places like Île du Diable or Devil's Island. Those who've seen the movie Papillon with Paul Newman will know how brutal, how violent, and how sadistic the Corsican guards were. Here you can see the original bed unto which the Corsican guards chained Papillon for 2 years non-stop. In France, I read many books about Les Bagnes, the French slave camps for white men, like Papillon, Henri Charrière, Alfred Dreyfus, or Guillaume Cesnek, and I can tell you that the books were even far more brutal than the movies. And the books saying that the Corsican guards were the worst of all, and that half of the guards were Corsicans. Therefore, the Corsicans killed at least 30,000 French, which is far, far more than the number of Corsicans ever killed by the French. Although with their Corsican independence movement, they never talk about this and always slip into the victim's role, whereas they themselves are the aggressors. Same technique as the Philistines use, who are in fact the aggressors, couldn't win, and therefore slip into the victim's role. And what the entire Muslim world also falsely believes now, and repeats it wherever they can. So the white man, will also eventually believe that. The only ones in the entire world who will never believe that are the Chinese, who just lock them all up in order to protect their own. So here it's in French, but here you can read about Les Bagnes. You can put it in the machine and translate it. The name in English actually is the galleys. And here it says 100,000 persons in between 1852 and 1953 were sent there. And of the 100,000, 30,000 were political prisoners, like from Indochina and also Corsicans, and from Algeria, apparently. So, and 100,000 people, and of which 60% never came back. So this is where they send Papillon to, Les Bagnes here. And here it says the word Bagne comes from the Italian bagno, name of a prison in Livorno. Actually, the Corsicans, they come from Livorno, and built on the site of a therma, an ancient Roman bathhouse. So, like you might say, bathing in blood, if you want, you know. And in French, se baigner, like this, it means also to bath, to take a bath or wash yourself. And so I told you before, 100,000 people got sent there over the years, over 100 years, and 60,000 never came back. And as there were at least 50% of the guards were Corsicans, so that means 50% of 60,000 who never came back were murdered by the Corsicans. This is how I got the number, as I just told you before. And 100,000 were all tortured, or let's say 50,000 were tortured by the Corsicans. That's half of 100,000. So well, you can read about it yourself. And this is what I was looking for. So they had the galleys in France, and remember, until 1953, that's 8 years after World War II was still going on here. So they had them in Nice and Rochefort and Toulon and Le Havre, all over. Location of French bagne. So they had slave labor camps for white persons in France until 1953. Can you believe that? And these ones here overseas. Here it says overseas. So you got them in like New Caledonia, Australia, Madagascar, Indochina here, North Africa, and in South America. They're all French-like places, like or protectorates and all that nowadays. So here you can see that. And there was one called Devil's Island. And Papillon, he was sent there. Oh, they even had them in Italy for the French. During the Napoleonic era, Italy boasted the Bagno Genoa. Well, and these things will come back, you know. They will come back. We see it already happening in America now. And this is why I talk about it so much, like what's going on in America. You might say, well, there's none of your business. But yes, it is, you know, because Donnie is internationalizing the whole thing. And if it works out okay, like the Americans are not doing very much against it, then it will be a success and it will pop over into Europe and the rest of the world, all these camps. It will come back everywhere. So please do something against it. Here it says the Devil's Island. So Dreyfus, you know, the jaywalker guy, and there were anarchists and anti-militarists going to Devil's Island. And I remember that from the film with Papillon. They closed the ESC officially closed in 1953. Can you believe that? Here it says Papillon by Henri Charrière. Fantastic book. And yeah, with Steve McQueen and Dustin Hoffman. From 1973. Wow. So here's the Devil's Island. Let's punch that. There you go. Devil's Island. Horrible. So that's off the coast of French Guinea. And Donnie is capable of, you know, like taking some island somewhere, you know, maybe the island of Little St. James, you know, the Jeffrey Epstein Island, as Donnie knows it very well, you know, they might transform it into a galleys, you know, because so they can hide it from, you know, what's going on in America. But it seems like Americans are not doing very much against it. Only some Antifas who are not allowed to say they're Antifas anymore. But they're basically the only ones who do something against it. You know. The rest of the Americans, they it's like the grey mass I just talked about. You know, I don't think they really care about it. So here the Bagne de Cayenne. It's only in 2 languages. Funny enough, only the Ruskies care about it for one reason or another. There's no English, and even Napoleon Bonaparte in 1852, he sent people there. It's in Guyane, it's in South America. Napoleon III, he sent there 3,000 political prisoners. Oh, fantastic. So there it is in South America, Guyane. It says here Amérique du Sud, it means South America. And this is what I wanted to tell you. They call it the dry guillotine. It says, so, you know, of 17, this is just one of them, you know, one of the galleys. So, as I just, like the Nazis, they had so many of these things. So, of 17,000 people sent there between 1854 and 1867, only 7,000 survived. So, that's about, what is that, 60% died there. So they call it the dry guillotine. They died of malaria. Here it says malaria, food deprivation, violence, whatever. They just died. So slave labor for white persons. So remember that very well, And so if this slave labor camps for white persons, who were mostly innocent, by the way, or political prisoners and other, if they do this to white people, and it's not only this here. I mean, the Nazis did the same, there were also white people in there, mostly. There weren't any others. And so do you really believe that the white race is doing this to the white race? So you Nubians, you better think about this. So this means, and also the Indians in America, this means that the genocide on the Indians, the slavery on the Nubians in America, that it wasn't done by the white race, because I did the same to the white race, and even worse, as I told you. The white race is under 2,000 years of slavery. First the Romans, and then the kings, in the feudal system. So it's not the white race doing this. This is very important, that the whole world understands this. So the whole world will understand who the real enemy is. That's Pharaoh's nobility. I've proven it. And as all these groups, like the ETA, IRA, the German RAF, and the Corsican FLNC, are and were socialist communists, therefore we find the communist red star as a dot on the I in their logo. As you can see here, there it is. It has all a reason, and there is more. So I find in their logo, I have found at least 4 secret messages. I told you before about the L inside of the bar, and then the C, making the 4O if you want, or the square and compass. Then there was this here, which is geographically, like here, Corsica. This is what the island looks like, but if you draw a straight line, you get it like this. And here as well. And then now we have the red star, because they are all communist, socialist organizations like the ETA, the IRA, the RAF of the Germans. And there's also a 4th one, which I will explain you just after this one here. First, I'll show you that indeed the IRA and the ETA, the RAF, they all have the red star like this. And they all group together like in the Giornata Internazionale with a Z, yeah, remember? So first of all, the motherland of the red star. Here you can see the Ruski Soviet red star. And here once more the Soviet red star, and here as well. And there's a V here, probably Knights Templar V, and a circle. And next you see the German RAF, the Bader Meinhof, with a red star, just like the Corsicans in the red star or the constellation bar. And in German, this means Rote Armee Fraktion. That means Red Army Fraction. So it's a part of the Red Army. That's why the red star. So here once more, the Red Army Fraction here, the red star, and some of their members being hunted down by the authorities. So these are all Marxist, socialist, communist organizations. These ones are or were, these ones still are, And it falsely said before that they are both left-wing and right-wing. Well, they're not right-wing. They only had to put it down because all these groups, you know, they team up with the Philistines. So if you team up with the Philistines, logically, you are against the jaywalkers, and then you are anti-jaywalkerism and all that. So they have to call them right-wing, but they're definitely not right-wing. That's just an exception, sort of the rule because of the Philistines, you know, and they thought they were doing something left-wing by teaming up with the Philistines, but they don't, because the Philistines themselves, they're, you know, Islamofascists, you know, so they're right-wing, like, you know. And here you got the ETA, here it says, also with the red socialist Marxist star. And I think of all the organizations, these are the most Marxist socialist of them all, more than the FLNC, the RAF, and the IRA altogether. And they got their own language here. It says Independencia. And here also Socialismoa. And of course here the red star and here the red star. They all have the red star, and that's why it's in the logo of the constellation for Oba. And here you got the Irish National Liberation Army, the red star, and here of course the same red star again. The IRA also have a red star, but I couldn't find a picture. But it's all the same, yeah. And apparently they even have flags like this. As you can see, this is a flag. Oh, here you can see the Irish Republican Army marching. They all have a red star here and here, all of them. Just like the Corsicans here, and the Basques, and the RAF from Germany. So here you see the Irish Republican Army with the red star, because they're all Marxists with the Irish flag, green, white and orange. It's all black, here's black, the wall is black. And here it says Republican Network for Unity with the red Soviet star. This is of course the phoenix. It's the bird rising out of the ashes, which is very much related to the Knights Templars. And it's ancient Egyptian mythology. That's where it's been seen for the first time, this birdie. Rising out of the ashes, that's why it's black here probably. And so this is like a circle, you see, so that's the concept of 3 for the compass. So there must also be the concept of 4. Where is it? Can you see it? Well, there are 4 words: Republican, Network, for Unity. And also this unity thing is one for all and all for one, or where we go one, we go all. It's always the same thing, you know, unus pro omnibus, omnes pro uno. And the square is also here in the bricklaying. It's everywhere. Every time is a square. So it says square and compass, you know, of the three more synagogues. So these kids here, you know, and the Europeans and all these organizations, they have no clue whatsoever who's really behind it, who's financing the whole thing. And it's always the internal war between the vertical and the horizontal rule, you know, and sometimes even both. So who are the enemies of the, let's say, of the Irish? Well, the enemy is traditionally the royals of England, the monarchy, you know, so the vertical ones. So that's why these ones here are the horizontal ones. They are republicans, the Irish Republican Army. So here you see the Knights Templars turning into ashes, and this is the phoenix rising up out of the ashes in Swaziland, of course, which is their hideout, where they survived, was the Priory of Sion and all that. So it is pharaonic. These ones were of the pharaoh's nobility anyway. They're all noblemen coming out of Pharaoh. So of course they take this as as a symbol. So nowadays it's always used for these ones here. The phoenix is always used for these ones here. And there's even towns called Phoenix. You know, it's incredible, and nobody knows what it's really about. It's all about the vertical and the horizontal rule. And here you got the red here also the red, here you got the white, here you got the white. So it actually says here Knights Templars, you know. It's the same with this one here. They even call it the Red Army. And the color red is vertical, whereas the white is horizontal and Republican. And whom were they fighting against, these ones here? Well, they were fighting against the German state. They were the enemy of the state. Now, what is the state? Nowadays, they're all Republicans, so the state is horizontal. And if they were fighting the horizontal ones, so they must have been here, these ones here, they must have been vertical, fighting them. So, and this is also the thing in Russia. I mean, communism started as a revolt by the people against the Tsars, who were really brutal, very bad for the people, murdering people, genociding the people, starving the people. And so there was a revolt, but the revolt got taken back again by the vertical ones, by the Russian nobility, with Stalin and Putin, and it became vertical again, you know, dictatorship, murdering even more people, like in a revenge. So it's all about the vertical against the horizontal rule. All these, so it's quite complicated because the ones fighting here, and they all think they're doing something good, but they don't have a clue what's really going on, you know. So they were fighting the German state, so they were actually the vertical rule behind it. But the members of this team here, you know, they didn't have a clue what they were doing. So all these young German kids, they just sacrificed their lives for, and they didn't even know for what. They were brave people. I mean, I don't say they did the right thing or they were good, but they were brave because they sacrificed their own lives. And they don't know. It's the red house here, the red star, the red house, who are the vertical ones. And the Soviet Empire was very vertical, taken back from the people after the revolution, again by the Russian nobility. So it's the Red House against the White House, like in America, the White House. And the White House was in Upper Egypt in the south, which is horizontal. So, and as a matter of fact, the red ones here, all these brave people, they were fighting against the White House, so to speak, against the German Republic, which is horizontal. And these ones and these ones and the IRA, they have no single clue what they're fighting for. That it's all red against white and horizontal against vertical. And they were brave people. Also in the IRA, there are brave people, and the Basque and also the Corsicans, especially these Germans here, these kids, very brave people. But they did the wrong thing, you know. So, and now they're being seen as bad. But in themselves, you know, in the inner core, they were not bad people, you know. It's the same as so many like young kids, neo-Nazis. Inside, they're not bad, but they're just doing the bad things, you know. And this is what I've been doing. I've changed so many people and who've thanked me, saying, oh, I hated the jaywalkers before, now I understand, I don't do that anymore. And, you know, only history. And history is always repeating itself. Hey, Donnie? So here you can read about the Provisional Irish Republican Army. Here's that logo with the birdie, the phoenix, as I just shown you before. And what I wanted to show you is that there, it says, Their ideology is socialism. It's Marxism, socialism. And you see, the allies, even the FARC, well, they are very Marxist. It probably even says somewhere. The ETA, Marxists. And so they're very left, only because they team up, as I told you before, with the PLO and the Philistines, who hate the jaywalkers. In the other commentary, they said, and the other comment, they said that they are right-wing, but they're not. You know, nonsense. They're very, very left-wing, only because they team up with the Philistines and the Muslims. It's said that they are also right-wing, because anyone who is against the jaywalkers apparently is right-wing, and that's because of the war and all that. And well, you can read it yourself and find it yourself. But this is very important. The red star, they're socialism. Yeah. And well, at least that's what they think, but it's it's the vertical rule and the horizontal rule, and they have no clue what's going on, really. So here the ETA, Euskadi Askatasuna, means Basque homeland and liberty. Here you see the red star as well. And remember, maybe you already forgot it, but I'm still showing you all this with the red star because it's in the logo of the Swiss Corsican bar, the 4-0 bar, the square and compass bar, the concept of 3 and 4 bar, with 4-0 kids died having a red star in the logo. You must always look into the stars, into the logos. It's very important. If you don't understand the logos, you're not going to understand anything, because that's where, it's the tip of the iceberg. The rest is like hidden. So here you see the ETA, there they are. What are they? Their ideology. They are revolutionary socialism, and they are Marxist-Leninism. So that's why the red star. And we found it in the logo of the bar. It wasn't there by coincidence. And you see the allies are also the FARC. They're also Marxists in South America. The FLNC, you see the Corsican head, and the EZLN, also with a red star. Maybe you can see it if I go down a bit. Yeah, that's a red star. Oh, what happened now? And the FLNC, maybe it's all the Corsican thing here. I explained it in one of my videos where it comes from. Not many people really know it, because like the tourist industry, they tell you something, or the usual thing about Corsica, something which isn't true, And the FARC, do they have a red star? What did it say? Yeah, Marxist, Leninist. It's all red star stuff. And we just found it in the bar, yeah? Very important. If you want to understand why 40 kids had to die, you must understand the red star. You see here the Basque, here on the walls, the red star. Here's the birdie. Is it the phoenix or the falcon? Probably the falcon standing up. Here the concept of 4. Here's both. It says square and compass. 4 things here for the concept of 4 for the square, and it's the circle for the compass. They don't know whom they're fighting for. They have no clue. So let me recapitulate for you. So the stylish profile here of the geographical Corsica, which you can see here on chains. And if you don't understand these things, you will not understand who the owners, the Moretti owners of the death bar, really are. Then there is the red star, because they're all Marxist organizations against the state. And now the third thing, so we had this here, 1, secret symbol in the logo, and 2, the star, secret symbol. And just before we had the concept of 3 and 4 in the C and the L, for the compass and the square. So that's 3, and now the fourth one. So do ask yourselves why the C and the N are bigger, written in majuscule typography. I mean, there must be a reason they decided to have a big C and a big N, just like the Corsican silhouette in the O, or the red Soviet star in the I, when they conceived the logo, eh? Well, because the majuscule C and N stand for Corsica Nationalist, or Nationaliste Corse in French, and in their language, Corse Nazione, which is also a political party of them. So here the big C for Corsica and the big N for nationalists. Very important. And all these things, this is also a nationalist symbol, and also is this of the Nationalist Independence Organization, which the nationalists, and nowadays many other Corsicans as well, they carry this around their necks. The mafia have it with a dagger, and the revolutionaries with an assault rifle. So we got this secret symbol, this one here, before the C and the L, and now we got the C and the N for Corsican Nationalist. This is not a coincidence. Why else would you write a big C and a big N? You must always ask yourself why. Hey, you see a cup and it says, like a coffee cup, it says Corsica Nazione with a C and an N. And here's the Corsican head and even a crown, which is in the story what I've once told you. And here as well, written on the wall, they write it down everywhere, graffiti, Corsica Nazione, C-N. So here you can see that there is, next to the FLNC, yet another big Corsican liberation movement by the name of Corsica Nazione, with a C and an N, and the very reason for which the C and the N in the name of the Swiss constellation bar are written in capital letters to indicate the Corsican nation. In their lingo, Corsica Nazione, with the word Nazi in it, as I've just explained. So you see, they even got T-shirts with the same man holding the gun, like on the silver chain. And here they write it everywhere on walls. There's graffiti everywhere. They're like kids, very dangerous kids though. For me, they're not real revolutionaries. And also here, you see, on the floor here, on the ground, you see the same symbol here again, which is the geographical, stylish made, the symbol of the island, because the island looks roughly, has this form. And what is also very important here, so we see the C for Corsica, and here as well, and the big N for Nazione, C-N. Oh, you still don't believe me? Well, look at the floor here. It says C-N, you know, like here, C-N, meaning Corsica Nazione. And this here looks like an eye, this one with the red Soviet star in it. I'll make it a little bit bigger so you can better see it. So there's a reason, for the big C and the big N, the red star on the eye, here the logo of their island. And before there was this L big for the square, and this makes the compass. It's all graffiti. The logo is the same graffiti as on the walls here. Apparently on this island, they like graffiti. Oh, I'm so important. Listen to me. See it on the wall. And here also they make T-shirts. Isn't that lovely? So here I enlarged it a little bit. Here you see CNI. And here the stylish island of Corsica, just like here. So the C and the N, I just explained it. That's Corsica Nazione, the Corsican nation. But what about the I? Well, I will prove to you that this I is the very same one as this I here. And there's probably even a star on it. The I in CNI, or in the logo of Le Constellation 40 bar, stands for Independenza, which means independence in the Corsican lingo. So here you can see it. Indipendenza Corsica Nazione. Or the other way around, Corsica Nazione Indipendenza. Yeah. Corsica Nazione Indipendenza. That's what it means. So the I in Le Constellation, it means independence. So altogether, CNI stands for Corsica Nazione Indipendenza. And this is what 40 kids had to die for. And that's why I'm angry and tell what I know, which otherwise I would never have done. And still, I won't tell you all I know, but just the essential. So here again, CNI, you got here the stylish Corsican island, just like here. And we see it again here, where it says Indipendenza. And here the I, which is the same one as this I here, Corsica Nazione, and here, like the CN, and here you got the I, with the Soviet star in it, where all the kids had to die for. 40 innocent kids had to die for some Marxist, Leninist independence utopia with a Soviet red star on the Independencia I, and a terribly painful and torturous death that was on top of it. A Corsican vendetta, worse than the usual Corsican dagger in the back. So here you can read about the Corsica Nazione Indipendenza. Here you see Independentista, and here it says its political position is far left, which is Marxism, communism. That says, Leninism, the whole thing, Stalinism probably. And you see also the FLNC again. And here's FLNC. This is what the kids had to die for. And the Swiss authorities, they know it. I mean, you must be really blind if you can't see that they're hiding something. Eh? The whole world is seeing that the Swissies are hiding something. And look, if you do an open source investigation, open source, it means like just look in the internet. That's open source investigation. You'll find out a lot of things. I mean, the Swiss authorities, they could do this, but they're just doing the omerta, the laws of silence. They don't do anything for justice. So here you see that symbol again with the Corsican head. Here it says Corsica Nazione. Now look at this. You see a lot of names here. Oh, what do I see here? Moretti. Look here, Michel Moretti. Well, I mean, if the owner of that bar, Jacques Moretti of the Le Constellation, the 4-0 bar, if he's having CN in the logo and the Corsican symbol in the logo, the Soviet red star on the eye for Independenza and whatnot, then this must be family, probably his brother or his father or an uncle, There you go, Corsica Nazione, CNI. Here on YouTube, they talk about a Anton Moretti of the Corsican, allegedly of the Corsican mafia, who allegedly murdered somebody else. And so here's the title, and here's the channel name, so you can look it up yourself. This is just open source investigation, and if you punch this Anton or Anto Moretti in the machine, it says here they got sentenced to 13 years prison. And here's some more. You see, banditisme, banditism, the bandits. And there's also Jean-Mathieu Moretti. Oh, that's the father of that guy. He says, no, we're not mafia, we're no criminals. No. And there's a lot more. Here you see the another Anton Moretti. There's his grave. Anyway, there's a Moretti family in Corsica who are in the mafia. And as I just shown you, the Moretti, Jacques Moretti of the 4-0 bar, he has all the indications of the Corsican independence movement. So with at least 4 items in the logo indicating the Corsican nationalist connection, and another 2 items for the 3 more sinners, making 6 indications altogether in the logo, there's hardly any more doubt with whom and what they are affiliated with. So the first indication for the affiliation with the Corsican national movement is the C and the N for Corsica Nazione. The second, the island here, with all the nationalist guys, they have it around their neck. The third one is the Soviet Red Star, because they're Marxist-Leninist. The fourth one is the I for Independenza, meaning independence. So here, the 5th indication, and now that they are also affiliated with the 3 more sinners, which is the new tendency since a couple of decades already. I already made a video about it a couple of years back, how the mafia, how they have infiltrated the 3 more sinners in Italy. And so here we got the big C and the big L, so this is inside of the bar. in Crans-Montana. So here the circle, which stands for the compass, which is this thing here. You need this thing here to make this, to make a circle. And here's the square, 90 degrees. That's why they made it in capital letters. So this is the fifth item to understand with whom they are affiliated. And here the sixth item to understand that they are also affiliated or have infiltrated these ones here, the three more sinners. So here are three bubbles, a small one, a middle one, and a big one for Isis, Horus, and Seth. So the big one is Seth, the middle one Isis, the little one is Horus, or sometimes it's also Osiris. It depends. I've shown you this even outside in logos, on trucks, on roundabouts. It's everywhere they do this. So this is really for the three more sins. And there's also here the G, like here's the G. So we got here the concept of 3, must be the concept of 4 as well somewhere. I don't see it, but the other colors red and white for the Knights Templars, for Swaziland, for the White House and the Red House of Pharaoh. And of course, here's the star again. Don't know why they did it in white, by the way. Could have done it in red, actually. I suppose this also has a meaning here. Maybe this is like the G, like this here, like subconsciously, in a way. But anyway, the G is very obvious, and the three bubbles as well, the big one, the middle one, and the small one. So there are at least 6 items in the logos that they're using to understand who's really behind this bar of the constellation. I will also explain you the name, how that also relates to the affiliation. So here's the video about the how the head, the Corsican head here, why they have this as their symbol. And here you see the island. You see it's like a finger here. And I made this video 8 years ago while I was invited in a pub of a Corsican guy. So here's the title. The Corsican warrior chief chopped off the head off of an Arabic caliph, Emir Sultan Sheikh, and brought his wife back. It's an interesting story, so go and have a look at it. And it's at the same channel as here. You see, 2018. That's 8 years ago. So here's that video in which I explained, I made it 4 years ago, I think, how the mafia, how they come out of the Knights Templars. And if you want to understand, if you really want to understand what happened in that Swiss bar on January 1st, 2026, you must watch this video, otherwise you won't even understand it. So it's only 8 hours. You have to know history to understand what's going on today. So I made it in 2022. Here's the title, the Swiss Beast, Home of the Devil, Part 8, Pharaoh's Worldwide Templar Mafia. It's on my other channel, Homeland Security, for the Homeland Security, but it's the Homeland Security. What we can see happening today with the ICE and all this, they are really Homeland Security. There's no other words for it. And why the Swiss Beast, home of the devil? Well, because Swaziland is the base of both the Knights Templars and the Mafia. That's where they bring all the money. So this is the only way to understand what happened in the constellation bar. You have to understand all of this. And about infiltrating the mafia, infiltrating the three more sinners, I really don't know why I have it. I made a little bit too many videos, so maybe it's in here. I don't know. I'm telling you all this about the Corsican independence nationalists because I hate traitors, and these are traitors to the cause, and the cause of fighting for freedom against the occupation and against wars was a noble cause. But when I was there in Corsica with the liberation movement, already many freedom fighters saw crime and mafia the only way to finance the revolution. And I'm talking mid-1990s, more than 30 years ago, already being in Corsica with these guys. The bad revolutionaries started heavy crimes like drugs, prostitution, then with that money buying bars, restaurants and discotheques, with an internal war breaking out between the poor, good revolutionaries and the rich, bad and criminal revolutionaries, as the good ones saw the revolutionary values betrayed by drugs, prostitution, racketeering, and other non-revolutionary crimes. So the bodies started to pile up, with executions every single day, where even French judges and senators, anti-terrorist police and government spies got assassinated, with the European community declaring Corsica as the murder capital of Europe. The same thing happened with the IRA, who also went into crime, also because they were teamed up with the PLO and other Philistine movements. And we all know how Hezbollah is involved in the drugs trade, and most likely together with some Irish. Corsicans hate everything that's Arab or Muslim due to their history in the Mediterranean, needing to deal with Arab raiders coming to snatch European women, and where the story of the Arab decapitated head as the Corsican national emblem is from. It is a decapitated Arab head, and the Corsicans would like to do that even still today with all of them. As far as I know, only the Basques stayed faithful to the true revolutionary values and never joined any mafia, nor ever dealt with drugs or other. Today, 2026, there are no more real revolutionary freedom fighters in Europe. The Basque ETA totally disbanded in 2018. The IRA of Ireland disbanded in 2008. And the Corsican FLNC never disbanded, but declared an official truce with the French state in 2014 and laid down their arms. And Homie Ross picked up his camera.